Recapture your childhood with Mary Mac Bakehouse's newest oat bran muffin mix, PB&J. Vanilla oat bran muffins with peanut butter chips and strawberry jammy bits. Available now on MaryMacPodcast.com. They're nostalgia-licious.
Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. Today I have a cold, but I'm still recording my podcast because I got this cold and I thought, I need some prescription grade chicken noodle soup. And then I thought, perhaps other people have a cold and they would like to learn how to make this too. So that's why we're having a podcast. So if my voice sounds bad, I apologize in advance. But I'm going to give you my recipe for chicken noodle soup. And I have a little trick I do in here to I don't know, I call it prescription grade, and I don't know if it's any better or not, but chicken soup's really good for you when you have a cold. So here's a good recipe that you can try out in your time of need. So what you'll need is 2 quarts of chicken broth, and I just got regular chicken broth. I didn't get low sodium, but you can also use low sodium chicken broth. And I am coming out with a new seasoning mix. So I used it in the soup, but if you don't have it, which you won't yet because I'm not selling it yet, I'll give you some of the spices that you can use, a few of the spices that are in it. That's what I usually use in it. So I decided to try my seasoning mix in it this time, and it worked really well. But 2 quarts of any kind of chicken broth, and then 1 teaspoon each of kosher salt, black pepper, regular old black pepper, granulated garlic, and turmeric, a teaspoon each of those. Or
Hold up.
Yes,
It's turmeric.
turmeric.
It's turmeric.
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 How do you know? Did you go to the pronunciation guide?
Maybe. I didn't, but it's turmeric.
Turmeric. I like to say turmeric. It's just my strange. Where am I from?
I don't know. This is not Pittsburghese.
I don't know what it is. It's the planet that I come from, the planet I call home. We say turmeric. We also say puree and several other things.
No, you just said puree, right?
Oh.
You usually say puree.
Puree. Look, I'm not even consistent in my mispronunciations. See how good I am? I need to make my own pronunciation guide.
My favorite is vegan.
Well, it's vegetable.
Yeah, so you should say vegan if you're going to make that argument.
That's true. That would be more consistent. I'll have to remember that. Vegan. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I must apologize. My grasp of the English language is extremely limited. Okay, so anyway, when my Mary Mac this and that for chicken becomes available, you'll be able to put that in your soup. And I did it because I don't quite have it up for sale yet, but I used that in mine. However, as I said, a teaspoon each of those seasonings works just fine. Okay. And then you're going to put in 1 whole onion, about a medium-sized onion, 1 whole carrot, like a big-sized carrot. If you don't have like a bigger-sized carrot, maybe like a 1-inch diameter carrot, then use 2 smaller carrots. And then we're going to need celery for the vegetable soup. So what I want you to do is just cut the celery tops off and put them in. That's how we're going to make our stock for the soup, okay? So you have your 2 quarts of chicken broth. You have your teaspoon each of kosher salt, black pepper, granulated garlic, and turmeric. And then you have a whole onion, a whole carrot, and celery tops. And you're going to put those all in together and bring that to a boil, okay? Once you get it boiling, you're going to put in 2 chicken breasts, skinless, boneless chicken breasts, because we don't want to mess around with, bones and skin and all that. And we don't want to add all that extra fat to our soup. So I would say, I think the weight would be about 1 to 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. And I had 2 very nice fresh chicken breasts in the freezer that I had cleaned before I put them away. So make sure there's not like fat or things on your chicken breasts that might be icky in your soup, and put them in whole, okay? You're going to let that cook till the chicken is cooked, and that's going to be about 20 minutes of it. You don't have to keep it at a high boil, but a nice little simmery boil, And then once your chicken breasts are cooked, take them out and set them on a plate to cool so you can cut them up in a minute here. But take your chicken breasts out. Bring that broth back to a boil again, and make sure that your carrot is tender and your onion is tender. And once those are nice and tender, you can turn your broth down to a nice simmer again. And then I used a strainer scoop, and I scooped out my onion, my carrot, my celery tops into a bowl and let them set and cool off for a couple minutes. And then I processed them in my food processor until they were very ground up. And then I strained them through a strainer over a bowl because I wanted to get that extra dense vegetable juice off of them. And it takes about 5 minutes. You want to let it drain out real good. And you're going to get some really nice dark orange juice off of those vegetables. And you're going to put that back into your broth. So that gives it a very strong flavor from the onion, carrot, and celery tops. Now that, I don't know what to call it, that glop that you just had left from grinding up those vegetables, I put it into a container and froze it because I thought, hey, the next time I make gravy or vegetable soup or something like that, that would be a great addition into my soup base or my gravy base. So I just put that in a container and froze it, and you'll have like a half a cup of that left. And it's just, it's basically ground onion, carrot, and celery. So, nothing wrong with that. So now you have your broth that you've cooked your chicken in, and it's nice and flavorful broth, and it's sitting there simmering. What are you going to do? Now you're going to take about 5 or 6 carrots cleaned and sliced. I don't use shortcut carrots. I could do a whole episode on that, but I'm not going to. So I just get regular carrots, the regular old long carrots that are in a bag, and 5 or 6 carrots, clean them and slice them into about an 1/8 inch thick slice. 5 to 6 stalks of celery, again, cleaned and sliced into about an 1/8 inch thick slice. And then 1 large onion, cleaned and cut up into larger pieces, not like a very small piece, but like a larger, maybe like, I don't know, not a 1/2 inch square chunk, but, bigger pieces of onion. And you're going to take all those cut up vegetables and add them to the broth. And once you get them back in there and bring that broth back up to a boil, let those vegetables cook for about 10 minutes until they start to get tender. While they're cooking, cut that chicken up into about 1/2 inch to 1 inch cubes. You don't want it to be too small because it sometimes will break up in the soup, and it, then it'll be like shredded in there, and you don't really want that. So cut your chicken up. And then once your vegetables are just starting to get soft, put your chicken back in, okay? And you're going to just let that simmer together for half hour or so you can get those vegetables cooked and your chicken is incorporated back into it again. Now, while that's happening, we're going to get our noodles ready. And sometimes you can cook the noodles in the broth, but it does suck up a lot of broth. So what I like to do is cook my noodles in the regular way, boil them in water. So get your water boiling and cook 6 ounces or half a bag of noodles. They usually come in a 12-ounce bag, so I'm thinking that's pretty normal.
Is there a specific type of noodle you should use?
It's an egg noodle. I don't know if there's a specific name for them. Usually that's just what they're called, either an egg noodle or a no yolk type of a noodle, but that's the type they are. They're just called noodles. I should have done more. Didn't think about it. Sorry.
Well, just don't use like rigatoni or something.
No, you're not using pasta in this. You're using noodles. So you're going to cook your noodles for 8 minutes, okay? Cook them for 8 minutes, drain them, rinse them off, and put them right into the soup broth. Stir them up real good. Now you're going to turn that down to low and let that go for 30 minutes after you put the noodles in. They will suck up a little bit of the broth, but it lets all those flavors meld. And then you will have a delicious bowl of hot medicine for your cold. Make sure you have a box of tissues with you when you're eating so you can, do what you need to do while you're eating your hot chicken noodle soup. And it's really, the broth was so flavorful. It was amazing. But this is a really flavorful, delicious, healthy chicken noodle soup and filling because it's got, you have a lot of chicken in there. This is very good soup. And I have eaten it every single day since Thursday because it makes a nice big pot of it. So I've had one, what do you call that when you have to take a prescription in your dose? I have had 1 dose of chicken noodle soup each day with my cold. So, and I do feel better, but this is it. This is the prescription grade chicken noodle soup. And you definitely should give this a try this winter or make it for a friend. That would be a nice thing to do if your friend's sick and friend or beloved family member. Make it and deliver it. My husband loved it, and he doesn't even like chicken noodle soup. So he kept saying how good it was. And I was like, seriously? You really think it's good? Because he really doesn't like chicken noodle soup. So he was very impressed with it.
It's prescribed by Dr. Mary Mac.
Yes. I'm not a doctor, but I play one on podcasts.
And make sure to check us out online on Facebook and Instagram at Mary Mac Bakehouse, on Twitter at Mobile Mary Mac and Mary Mac Podcast, and on our website, marymacpodcast.com.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.